So guys, we got insurance registrations for last week, and also NIO just said that they're going to make a massive announcement in 2 days. All right, this is quite big, and it will impact the future of the company. So first of all, let's talk about insurance registrations. So straight off the bat, looking at this list, NIO is at number 4 spot. These are the Chinese new energy vehicle makers. Number 1, 2, and 3 all are gasoline car makers, gasoline EVs, hybrids, so to speak. So NIO has a respectable delivery of 6,000 vehicles. And the second closest one after them, Zeekr, has only 4,600. And then we have Deepal, which is 4,200. Deepal also has hybrids, right? They also use gasoline. And then Xpeng, 3,500, a little bit more than half. And then Xiaomi, only 2,900. During the month, there were several weeks where Xiaomi had fantastic deliveries, and people were worried that, hey, are they taking all the deliveries from NIO? Well, apparently that's not the case. ArcFox, don't know how they're still surviving, but 2,500, you definitely don't see them a whole lot here in China. They're mostly for like Ubers and stuff like that, but some people still do drive those. And then Denza, only 1,700, definitely not doing too well. I mean, Denza, even selling hybrids, their deliveries are that low. Now, comparing to traditional auto manufacturers, you can tell that NIO has once again beaten out Lexus. All right, more deliveries than Lexus in a week. That's pretty impressive. And then more deliveries than Volvo, which is, this is Volvo's gas cars plus electric cars, vehicles in general. So both Lexus and Volvo, they have gasoline cars, and NIO is outselling them with pure electric, which is quite amazing. But, of course, compared to some of these other traditional automakers like BMW, Audi, Mercedes, those guys, these numbers are total deliveries, all right, including gasoline vehicles. Now, if you're only counting pure electric vehicles, NIO is number 1. Only Tesla, at number 2 spot, 14,400. So Tesla still, has the definitive pure electric lead here in China. Well, Teslas are generally cheaper than NIOs, so that's actually all right. Now, when Envo comes along, this is going to be very interesting. Imagine if Envo tops this list, and instead of seeing Li Auto at number 1 spot, you see Envo at number 1 spot. I wonder if Li Auto is still going to publish this list once that happens. They will probably make up some stupid excuse like, to be fair to the market, we're not publishing these numbers anymore. Some crazy ass BS like that. But they always make up some excuse whenever they're not first. But of course, those are deliveries. Hopefully, the momentum will continue, which I believe they will because of the crazy incentives that they're giving out. They got even more incentives. Now, time for the big news, which is, of course, this announcement. They're hosting a conference in 2 days on the 5th. So what are they going to talk about? Well, it's the battery swap fee adjustment. Okay, so they're actually adjusting the battery swap fees. This has big implications because right now, as it stands here in China, the battery swap fees are a little bit overpriced, a little bit too expensive. Hear me out, all right? So before, they used to charge a service fee and an electricity fee per kilowatt hour, right? Sort of like how charging works. The more you charge, the more you pay, right? But about last year, they switched it over to where you have electricity fee and then a fixed swap service fee. So every time you get a swap, it's going to cost you 30 RMB or 50 RMB. So that's around maybe $6 to $8, $6 to $8 US dollars per swap. And then you also have to pay electricity fee. And a lot of people felt that was a little bit too expensive. And so what people do is, unless they're in an emergency or unless they have free battery swap or free battery swap vouchers, normally they would just go charge. And that's why you still see a lot of NIOs charging instead of swapping. Swapping is more expensive than charging because of this higher service fee. So if, for example, you're only at half battery and then you go for a swap, the service fee is still 50. All right, still 50 RMB, which is, it's not really economical. So people would rather go charge, and that's why they go charge. Charging would incur a smaller service fee, and it would really only make sense if your battery is completely depleted, and then you can go for a swap, and that service fee would perhaps more make sense. I'm sure NIO has the stats for this, and I'm sure they're also seeing that most people that are swapping are actually swapping for free or using the vouchers. And then if they're out of vouchers and they're not at like empty battery, they would still go charge or only swap if time is at a dire need. So in that essence, it would really make sense for them to adjust the service fee down a little bit. Okay, and I guess charging a fixed swap service fee makes sense because the swapping itself also requires electricity, also requires time, so that makes sense. But perhaps it doesn't really make sense if you're at 60% charge, and then you're going to after a swap you're going to swap into a 92% charged battery, so there's only like a 32% difference, and you're still paying the full 50 swapping service fee. That really doesn't make sense, right? So a lot of people just choose to charge if they're in that situation, if you're at 60% battery or something like that. So I'm just making an example of the actual situation here in China. So perhaps they should make it so that if the electricity percent is lower, then they can charge less service fee, so that if you're just swapping like 10 kilowatts of extra electricity onto your car, you're still charging a 50 RMB service fee. That just persuades people to not go for battery swap. At the end of the day, adjusting the swapping fees down a little bit is actually going to help business out a lot, because people would be swapping instead of charging in those situations that I've talked about. Now, the bigger reason for this price adjustment could also be because Envo is coming along, and Envo might have a different fee structure. And if Envo's battery swaps are cheaper than NIO's battery swaps, that's going to piss off a lot of people. So perhaps they're just adjusting the price down right now, so that when Envo comes along, Envo has the same price, so that it's fair for both parties. And that would really, really make sense. But either way, the fee for battery swap does need to be adjusted. And for you guys that didn't know, I think most of you guys do know, I get to swap for free. A lot of early NIO owners that bought their car in 2020 and before that get unlimited free battery swap. And most people afterwards get about 4 to 6 free battery swaps per month until about summer of last year, and afterwards it was free swap vouchers. So most people are still swapping for free and then charging. I mean, if they have to pay for swap and charge, they would go for swap in an emergency and then usually charge. So they gotta make the fee at least comparable and not have any sort of unfairness to it. So that's the big announcement that they're going to come out with in 2 days. As always, stay safe, stay healthy. Peace out.